The rain had started just after midnight in Rome. It wasn't heavy, more like a whisper against the windows, the kind of rain that didn't ask for attention but still made you stop and feel everything a little deeper. Can Yaman stood alone in the dim light of his apartment, the city lights flickering beyond the glass, his hands in his pockets, and his eyes fixed on something that had been untouched for years, a box. An old, plain, slightly battered box. The one she left behind. Demet. Her name still carried weight in his chest, no matter how many interviews he gave, no matter how many roles he played. He had learned to smile in public and stay composed under pressure. But in private? In moments like this, when the noise of the world faded and only memories remained, she came back. Always. That box had been with him through every move, from Istanbul to Budapest, from Madrid to Rome. He never opened it. Not once. Not even when he was at his lowest. Not even when he missed her so much he couldn't breathe. But tonight felt different. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the dream he had. Maybe it was the silence. Or maybe he was just tired of carrying weight he never dared to confront. So, slowly, with trembling fingers he hadn't felt in years, Can reached down, picked up the box, and sat on the edge of his couch. The rain kept tapping on the windows like a heartbeat. His own heart felt louder. He hesitated for a long time. Just touching the box made his chest ache. It was the last thing she ever gave him, not in person, but left in his trailer, with no note, no explanation. Just a simple message written in her handwriting on the tape sealing the top, "Only when you're ready." Back then, he had laughed bitterly. Ready for what? He'd thought. Ready to forget? Ready to forgive? Or ready to accept that what they had was never going to be again? He tore the tape gently, not wanting to damage her handwriting. The moment the seal broke, a cold rush spread through him, as if something sacred had been disturbed. The box smelled like her. Even after all these years. That same scent that used to linger on his clothes after a long day of filming together. That soft, warm, unforgettable scent. He had to swallow hard just to keep his composure. Inside, he found a folded scarf. It was the same one she wore the day they wrapped their last scene together, the scene where their characters kissed under the rain, and the cameras stopped, but they didn't. He remembered every second. The way she had looked at him afterward, as if something real had passed between them. Because it had. Under the scarf was a small envelope. His name written on it in blue ink. Just his first name. No Kanim, no inside joke, no flourish. Just, Can. He stared at it for minutes. He wasn't sure if he could open it. But eventually, his fingers moved on their own. The paper crackled like an old record, and inside was a single sheet. Her handwriting again. He could hear her voice as he read it. "I don't know if you'll ever open this, and maybe you shouldn't. But if you do, then I guess it means something and you still wonders what was real between us. So let me tell you the truth I never could before. Not on set. Not backstage. Not even in that night we said goodbye without saying the words. It was all real to me, Can. Every scene. Every look. Every touch. I wasn't acting." His breath caught. He read the line again. And again. "You used to ask me why I pulled away when the camera stopped. It's because I was afraid. Afraid of what it would mean if I didn't. Afraid I'd lose myself in something that couldn't survive the world outside our script. But I already had. I was yours before I even admitted it to myself. I'm leaving this box because I need you to know, you weren't the only one who felt everything. I just couldn't say it back then. And maybe it's too late now. But I never stopped thinking about you." Tears welled in his eyes before he even realized it. For years, he had punished himself, convinced that he had been the only one holding on. That she had let go, moved on, erased what they had shared. But this shattered every wall he had built. There was more in the box. A flash drive. A ring. A photograph of them laughing in between takes, unposed, unfiltered, undeniably real. She had kept it. All of it. Hidden away, waiting for a moment like this. Can sat there in silence, the letter still in his hand, the storm inside him louder than the one outside. He was shaking. He had spent years trying to move on. Trying to silence her memory. But the truth was, he had never left her behind. And now, with that one box open and all its contents laid bare, he realized something: she never left him either. The next morning, the sunlight poured into Can's apartment with a sharpness that contrasted the heaviness inside him. He hadn't slept. The box lay open on the table, its contents scattered like fragments of a story that had been paused, forgotten, and now suddenly rewritten. He sat there, staring at the photograph again, a candid moment of laughter shared between him and Demet during a break on set. No acting, no scripts. Just them. Young, free, unaware of what was to come. How had things fallen apart so completely? How had two people who once shared such a deep connection drifted into silence, separated by walls built of pride, fear, and misunderstanding? Can's mind traveled back to their last day together. The final scene they shot was supposed to be the grand finale of their on-screen romance, a beautiful goodbye for the characters. But for Can and Demet, it became a quiet farewell to something much more personal. He remembered the cold tension that filled the room after the director called cut. Everyone left except them. They stood there, words unsaid, feelings buried beneath layers of pain and confusion. Demet had looked away first, her eyes glossy but guarded. She didn't say goodbye. She just walked out, leaving behind a silence louder than any conversation. At the time, Can had tried to reach out, to find the truth beneath the surface, but she had shut the door, both literally and emotionally. Now, holding her letter, he understood why. She was scared. Terrified of what being real with him meant. It had been the same fear he tried to mask with jokes and smiles during interviews, the fear that loving someone so deeply could destroy you if the world turned against you. He took out the flash drive from the box, hesitating before plugging it into his laptop. His heart pounded as files began to load. Videos. Footage she had recorded herself, moments off camera, raw and unfiltered. Clips of her talking to herself, confiding her fears, her hopes, her love for him, the secret she never dared speak aloud. One video made him stop breathing. Demet, sitting alone in a quiet cafe, eyes shining with tears. Can, she said softly, I don't want to lose myself in this love. But I don't want to lose you either. I wish you could see how much I feel this, even when I hide it. Her voice cracked. For the first time, Can felt her pain as his own. Another video showed a conversation between them, recorded secretly by Demet during a night they spent apart but talked on the phone. Her laughter, her sighs, the way she whispered his name like a prayer. Can's hands trembled. All the memories, the missed chances, the misunderstandings, the silent heartbreak, spilled out in front of him like a waterfall he had no choice but to face. And there, buried among the footage, was a message he never saw before, a video addressed to him, recorded the day before she left. I'm scared, Can. Scared we'll never be able to be what we want. But I need you to know that no matter what happens, you changed me. You made me believe in something real. She paused, took a shaky breath, and looked straight at the camera, at him. If you find this box one day, I hope you'll understand why I left. It wasn't because I stopped loving you. It was because I loved you too much to hold on when I wasn't sure you felt the same. Can felt the room spin. The weight of her words crushed years of silence. For the first time, he allowed himself to admit the truth he had buried beneath fame and bravado. He loved her. He had always loved her. And maybe, just maybe, she had loved him too. But some things were harder than love. The evening air in Rome was cooler now, a gentle breeze carrying the faint scent of rain and old memories. Can sat back, the flickering light of a candle casting shadows on the walls. The box was empty now, but its contents had opened something much bigger inside him, a door he'd been afraid to unlock for years. He realized the truth that had been hiding behind all the silence and distance. It wasn't just about love. It was about fear, pride, and the fragility of two hearts trying to survive in a world that demanded perfection but allowed no vulnerability. He reached for his phone, fingers hovering over Demet's name saved deep within, a name he had avoided calling for too long. The urge to hear her voice was overwhelming, yet the fear of what he might hear, or not hear, held him back. But then, he remembered the final words in her letter, "If you find this box one day, I hope you'll understand why I left." He understood now. Not that she wanted to leave him, but that sometimes love means letting go. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, "I'm sorry, Demet. Sorry for every moment he didn't fight harder. Sorry for every silence he let grow between them. Sorry for the pride that had built walls instead of bridges." But even through the pain, a small spark of hope flickered. Because the box had brought him back to the truth they both knew deep down, they were never really apart. Love had left a mark, raw, imperfect, and beautiful. And maybe, one day, the story wasn't finished yet. Can stood up, walking to the window. The rain had stopped, and the city looked washed clean, ready for a new beginning. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, he felt something close to peace. Because sometimes, breaking open the past is the only way to heal.